Hello class. I'm trying to get this video working, but I'll just go ahead and get started here. So a quick overview of my nonprofit that I reached out to. It was called Cornerstone International. Basically what they do is they train and help missionaries fulfill their dreams and goals by serving any type of mission they're wanting to. This can look different in many different ways, but Cornerstone helps prepare them for the field they are going into. So they've got people all around the world as well. Cornerstone was originally established in 1972 in Kentucky by the CEO who first served his own mission in Italy, and then after that he developed and made Cornerstone International. They now have 60 missionaries in 16 different countries. Some of these include Brazil, Norway, Vietnam, Costa Rica, Israel, and many others. So for the first question, how are the nonprofit organization employees' compensation and benefits aligned with HR best practices? Well, it was a little bit different. The way that Cornerstone International approaches compensation and benefits is very different from most companies. The missionaries and most of the local employees are entirely in charge of raising their own salary by asking friends and family community to sponsor them. Their salaries strictly consist of what they can raise, which is pretty wild. The director I spoke to decided on his own to do this and chose not to take a small salary from the company, but rather raise his own money, just like the other missionaries. As you can imagine, this is very different from most companies that you guys probably worked with and other people in our class, um, because they had such, interesting type of benefits. He said that the sport and culture, as well as praying as an organization for one another within their team, is one of the benefits they provide, and kind of one of the more out there but more realistic benefits that they would provide is if there was like a world war or emergency, if their employees and missionaries needed to evacuate the country they reside in, they would provide an emergency evacuation to get them out of the country. Um, Going on to the second question, it says, please provide details of what differences you saw from your studies to the nonprofit compensation and benefits operations. Like I mentioned in the last question, that we learned about compensation and benefits did not really translate to necessarily my nonprofit. The differences between people's like salaries that they have to raise their own money for and just the general benefits that are provided are quite different than what I would have expected. Number three, please provide details of commonalities from the nonprofit and operations. One of the only commonalities that I really saw between them is how happy everybody seems to be within their organization. I've met some of the other people, but especially how the director explained everybody was. They seemed, really motivated and into their um, mission and job, um, which seemed to help create a pretty positive, um, you know, atmosphere. Number four, what did you learn from this volunteer project? I learned a lot about Cornerstone International, and then, you know, because some of the discussion questions that we had every week didn't necessarily apply to them, it really did spark, some interesting conversations and was definitely educational in other areas for me and my for this class. Number five, if asked, what suggestions would you provide to the director? I would suggest maybe giving their employees just a starting salary of around 10,000, which isn't much, but at least gives them a little bit of a basis from what they can work with, and they know that they always will have that every year. Um, Number six, were the employees motivated? Like I mentioned, the employees were highly motivated because they felt so strongly about the differences they were making and the change they were fighting to the world. Cornerstone has been able to serve all types of cultures and people, which gives them a real purpose in life, even if that means they're not really getting paid. Number seven, what practices would you suggest to motivate the employees or volunteers? I would suggest more brainstorming between the missionaries within the organization. I think if especially new people coming in could, you know, hear from some of the current missionaries because they only have around 50 to 60 ish. it would really help, new people coming in and brainstorming like, hey, here's how I raise money, or here's what I'm doing. And, it would just spark conversation and ideas for their missionaries. Number 8, what employee practices did you see that reflected that of a theory? Name the theorist's theory and describe the actions that reflect the theory. I would say the theorists that reflected organization employees practice the most would be Abraham Maslow for Cornerstone because of his hierarchy of needs. Clearly, employees do not get a whole lot from the company, but are still happy, and they're really only provided with the basics. I would say that employees are having all of their hierarchy of needs being met, like shelter, family, love, friends, they eat and everything like that. And then all the way up into kind of enlightenment, which I do think some people could argue that with the fulfillment and meaning within their life that they seem to be having, they really could be reaching that. And then the last question, provide additional information. Some of the additional information for my project was to do something for the company other than speaking with the director. In this case, I helped with the promotion of social media pages and also heard about the Shepherd's Project, which I raised money for. I will include the website link in my posts after this video. But basically, they have a new organization or place for you to donate to the Shepherd's Project, which is for third culture kids. Basically, third culture kids is like the offspring of the missionaries that go abroad and have children with somebody of that native country. So that kid not only is an American citizen, but they also are citizen of whatever country that missionary is serving in. And that kind of brings up, these kids, they've explained, have a lot of good skills, but it also comes with a lot of baggage because they're not they don't belong to either one completely because they're dual citizens. And the director explained to me that recently one of these third culture kids for their missionaries like took their own life, which kind of sparked the reason why he wanted to come out with this fundraiser. I didn't raise a whole lot of money, but I wanted to educate others like myself of kind of what it meant and what they would provide. So I raised $40. I had 10 people donate $4 just so they could learn about it. And if you're interested, I'll also include that link as well. But that's basically it. If you have any questions, you can lead in discussions and I'll try my best to answer it. Thank you.